The Pulse. The Pulse. Townships interviews. Don't forget breaking news.
Yes, hello. I'm William Crooks, and this is the Pulse of the Eastern Townships broadcast. Municipal budgets affect everything from taxes and infrastructure to services and long-term planning. But for many residents, the numbers can feel overwhelming and hard to interpret. To help make sense of it all, I spoke with municipal finance expert Aaron Patella about what really matters when reading a municipal budget and what residents should be paying closest attention to. Then we shift gears to a celebration of a remarkable milestone. Township's centenarian Evelyne Blackwood French is about to turn 100, and she's sharing her life stories, reflections, and memories from a century lived in the Eastern Townships. I'm William Crooks, and this is the Pulse of the Eastern Townships. Municipal budgets land on council tables every year, but for many residents, they can feel dense, technical, and hard to interpret. To help cut through the numbers, I spoke with municipal finance expert Aaron Patella about what really matters when reading a budget, from taxes and subsidies to administrative costs and long-term planning. Here's that conversation. Mr. Patella, how did your expertise in finance, municipal finance to be specific, come about?
Well, I am a PhD. I'm a doctor. The quick answer is I'm a doctoral candidate in finance at Concordia, and this is my area of research.
What are a couple of the main things you look for on a municipal budget when you read it on a website?
So there are a couple of things. You've got the revenue side and you've got the expense side. Now, there are essentially two kinds of revenue that towns have. There is their subsidies and government loans and government subsidies. That is usually project-based / conditional, right? So if you get a project like redo this building, right? Or, towns should have a decent community center. Here's money to build a community center. Now that money is entirely dedicated to that project, right? So the town doesn't completely control that revenue. So they have the money, but they can't do anything they want with it. And then you have your taxes, your land taxes. And that's the money that a town can do whatever it wants with, right? Obviously you can't buy cocaine with it legally in your territory. That's what you can do, right? So you have these two different, and the government subsidy one, right, is variable. That part changes all the time. So North Hatley might have $4 extra million this year because they have something for a special project, or 2 or 3, whatever it might be. But your regular administrative expenses, for example, can be paid for with those funds, right? So the things that you want to look at are what's changing over time and why, right? And so whenever you want to look at a town's changes or what's going on in the town, you really want to get 10 years or something like that, the same number.
Okay, so you always want to compare the numbers over the years.
Absolutely. When you're comparing over time, you're going to get a sense of how a town is managing things over long-term periods. And then, then you've got to look at the most common thing that you do when you're analyzing organizations. You look at certain kind of ratios. For example, the cost of administration, right? Now, the cost of administration, you can look at that as in 2 ways. You can look at that as the cost to administer the totality of the funds you have under management. So that's your taxes and your subsidies. The beef that I have with that way of doing it is the subsidies are variable, and you can't pay for that administration with those subsidies. So the townspeople have to assume that cost. And that's where you have, so in business, right, you have 2 different kinds of levels of profit, right? You got what we call cost of goods sold, so your gross profit and your net profit. And so it's very similar for a town in that you've got 2 different revenue levels, right? You've got the revenue level of your taxes, and then you've got the revenue level of the total amount of money that came through your management. And so I don't think it's insanely honest. It's not wrong per se, but I don't think it's a honest way of presenting the town's funds when you're saying, well, this is our discretionary expenses, but I'm comparing that to my total revenue.
Okay, so one major pattern in local municipalities for 2026 is lowering taxes because house prices went up. Can you explain what they're doing there?
Yeah, so there are two things in that sense, right? Towns are not like companies. A company wants to make the most amount of money every year possible. A town has to pay for the services offered and no more, right? And there are two things in there. You've got inflation to deal with, and so inflationary increases are normal because you have to pay what you got to pay, right? So if your bills go up, well, then you have to charge more to the people. And so there are two ways of looking at that. And once again, I think there's a more honest way and there is a more sneaky way, right? Because a town only ever has to charge for the money it's going to spend, right? It has sort of a fixed expense level. Okay, but then if the town, because inflation is inflation, the value of the houses in the town goes up, right? And so as the value of the houses go up, the amount of money that you have to charge per $1,000 of evaluation, right, doesn't necessarily have to increase at the same speed, right? So you can say the cost per 1,000 has gone down, so we're doing better. And the question is, are you paying more as a totality? Taxes are going up. Yeah, sure, my per 1,000 value has gone down, but my house is now worth $80,000 more.
Okay, so municipalities cannot raise a bunch of money and save it for later.
It's something you're not supposed to do, right? A town is supposed to only spend or only gather the amount of money it is going to spend in that budget. Now, you can have some sort of long-term plan for an expense, but strictly speaking, towns aren't supposed to do that because there's this concept of equity over time. You should only be paying for something while it is at your service, right? And so if you say, well, we're going to start collecting money now for the down payment for something we're going to spend in 5 years, you might not live there in 5 years. So theoretically, and I mean, strictly speaking, you're not supposed to be collecting money for future projects, right? Because you don't live there anymore, or people don't live there anymore, so people should only be paying taxes for the things that in place.
A lot of town costs are fixed costs, aren't they? Like Sûreté de Quebec expenses?
They could, for example, start a police department, right? But you make a choice which contracts you're going to take on and honor, right? Because they're fixed costs, but they're still costs the municipality takes on.
One topic of debate in this area is whether to hire more town workers or to contract out. Thoughts?
It does depend. But there are some things that, if well managed, are almost always going to be cheaper in-house. And that really comes down to the quality of your DG and their capacity to control effectively the town works. And then there are a couple of things along those lines as well. Is like one of the biggest problems that we face now is the differential between how much people want to volunteer for odd jobs. Like there's this idea that people can't, or towns can't use volunteers anymore because they're supposed to hire for anything that's regular and recurring, right? But a lot of things aren't necessarily regular or recurring. So there's this fine line, like where towns have to decide whether they want control or whether they want results. If they want control, they need employees. If they want results, they can use volunteers. Because the situational difference, like that legal difference between whether you're an employee or whether you're a volunteer, comes down to how much the employer or the person in charge can tell you to do. You have to be up every day at 8 a.m. to water the flowers. That's an employee. The town's women's guild, or the local Masons club, or the Rotary Club. Yeah, the local Rotary Club takes on a project, right? And then they're the ones responsible for watering the flowers, right? And then it costs the town nothing, but the town can't tell them what to do, right? And so you have a lot of managers who hate that. But it would be infinitely cheaper. But at the same time, most community groups who are committed to something, and, in the modern world that we live in, there's tons of training and there's tons of ways to make sure that people know what they're supposed to be doing, so on and so forth, right? So it really comes down to how much does the local municipal council want to give up control, right?
Yeah.
In order to get cheap results. If the town council is afraid, or the town manager has said, "Oh, we can't do that because blah, blah, blah," then all of a sudden, and this is one of the biggest problems in my humble opinion, is there are very few town councils where people are sort of fully experts and autonomous in the field of town management, can tell a DG where to shove it, and there are tons of DGs that don't live in the towns they work for. So their commitment isn't to the town tax base or whatever it might be. And it's not to say that these are bad people.
Right.
Right. Lots of people, most people who are in the realm of municipalities, stuff like that, fundamentally, they want to make a difference. A lot of them aren't good at it.
Would you consider roads and infrastructure a fixed cost?
Well, that's, no. Short answer, no. But the maintenance of those things is a recurring cost, right? And there's a difference between a fixed cost and a recurring cost, right? A fixed cost, strictly speaking, a fixed cost is directly related to, it's completely unrelated to manufacturing, right? So a fixed cost is your telephone and your secretary. It doesn't how much work you do. Those costs don't change. The road maintenance is very much up to you and how much you put into it and how much you don't. The outcome is whether you're doing enough maintenance or what the long-term costs are going to be for fixing all that stuff.
So in the townships, I've covered different municipalities, and they range in their tax raising from 1% to 7%. What would explain discrepancies of that magnitude?
Projects. Off the top of my head, in certain kinds of high-density environments, you may have more, for example, water facilities that need maintaining. You've got things that, rural townships don't have to worry about because everybody's on their own system, right? You don't have the same kind of communal systems that more denser population areas have to worry about. So, when you use the example of Compton and Compton, and I haven't looked at those numbers, so I can't. Kind of thing that I would say is look for projects on the book. Look for stuff that the town council has not maintained over the last 10 years. They're screwed if they don't. So, for example, I'll use North Hadley because, I know it. The east side of the river or the lake, right? Almost all the roads and internal underground plumbing was redone in 2006. Nothing has been done to the west side of the lake. And every 6 weeks, there's a pipe busting, and the mayor is out there standing over the hole going, "We're being effective," but they're sitting over a hole, and they are not a hole digger. So, what the hell are you doing there except, making it look like you're doing something when there's nothing for you to do, right?
And why would a delay be made in such a case?
It's never popular. It's never popular to spend money. You're the government in 2006 that literally spent $20 million in North Hadley, redigging all the holes and driving up the tax rate to one of the highest municipal tax rates in the province. Why? Because we had to redo the piping, Now, I'm going to have kinds of other things about whether they did it the best way they could have done it, because honestly, North Hadley could have spent a fraction of that money installing individual water purification systems in every single house. Far less money than the massively oversized water treatment facility. Right? But like the water treatment facility, and I don't know, but it is multiple times more than the size of the population of North Hadley and its capacity to treat water. I've heard numbers like up to 10,000 people. So we've got this facility that is grossly over-installed. Why? Because the people at the time thought it was cool. You know what I mean?
So typically, municipalities will give you a number in their summation of the budget. This will be something like the amount of money next year that the average household is paying more, which will usually be around $100. If you don't have a lot of time and you're looking at a budget, can you just compare that number over the years as a good metric for whether or not the town is doing a good job?
Is that a good metric? Well, yes and no. It depends on the municipality, right? The distribution of the value of houses, right? Because this is like, whenever there's a revenue question or something like that, we almost never use an average number, because averages can be thrown off by, like, if you live in a neighborhood with 200 people and one of them is Bill Gates, what's the average revenue? You know what I mean? 1 minute your municipality or your town or your neighborhood has an average revenue of $60,000, and the next minute your neighborhood has an average revenue of $12 million. And so that comes down to it. So a better question is, what's the median?
Right. Okay.
Right. And the median is the number in the middle, right? So when a town comes along and says, well, the mean increase is this much, but you know what? 75% of your houses are 10 times that value, right? There are a couple houses in the town that bring it down, or vice versa. I think, for example, in North Hadley, I think the Hovey pays 10% of total revenue, right, of total taxable revenue on that one building. He's going to be really cheesed when he finds out that the average house is paying $120 a year more, because that means he's paying $10,000.
Yeah.
A percentage increase is far more interesting. The average is going to increase by this much, because saying $120 may be, 2%, or maybe it's 10%. I don't know. But if you say that the average house increases by $120, that doesn't sound like a lot. But if you were paying, I don't know, $800 last year, that's a lot of money. That's a big increase. Dollar values and percentages can be deceptive.
Is there a big takeaway my questions didn't cover, Aaron?
Like I said, the most important thing is usually checking ratios as opposed to checking numbers. How much has the total administrative cost increased compared to the taxable revenue that you have in the municipality, right? If that's an increase of 8%, that's a lot. Why did we need to hire that much more people, right?
That was Aaron Patella breaking down how municipal budgets actually work and what residents should be paying attention to beyond the headline figures. You can read the full interview and explainer now on the Pulse of the Eastern Townships. I'm William Crooks. Thanks for listening, and always remember, keep your finger on the pulse.
And welcome everyone to the Township's Daily News Bits. I'm Holly Bailey here on 99.1, bringing you news and events that matter to townshippers. This is through the Local Journalism Initiative funded by the Government of Canada. I most recently had an honor and privilege, extraordinaire, honestly, to sit down with a soon-to-be centenarian. Miss Evelyne Blackwood French is about to turn 100. This is no small feat. She is witty, sparkly, full of fashion and energy, and has memories that date back, well, maybe not quite to 1926, but soon thereof. I sat down with her. We had a conversation that lasted close to 2 hours, so I've pulled the bits and golden nuggets out of it and share with you here a testament to a life well lived. I present to you our conversation with Miss Evelyne Blackwood French. So you were married twice, and I think most people out here in the Knowlton area know you as Evelyne Blackwood.
Yes, because my husband, Blackwood, Homer Blackwood, was the mayor of Knowlton for 25 to 30 years.
Those must have been fun times.
Yeah, well, we had lots of acquaintances and friends and lots of parties, and I think of so many now, and that's all I can do is think of them because they're gone. And they're maybe 12 or 15 years younger than I am.
Can I ask how old you are?
100?
No, officially you're 100, or is your birthday right around the corner?
Well, officially on the 30th of January.
Wow.
Next couple of weeks.
So 99 and counting.
Yeah.
That's exceptional. And you're radiant, beautiful skin, gorgeous hair, lovely ensemble, and full mobility and ready to rock.
If I rock too far one side, I'll fall down.
We all will. My goodness. 100 years. That's exceptional. Do you have longevity in your family, or did you foresee that?
No, my mother and father died when I was 6 years old.
No way. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. One had cancer and one had a heart attack.
And who raised you? Where did you live?
My father's 2 sisters.
And were you in the townships? Where were you born?
In Montreal.
Okay.
Born in Montreal, and I worked for the Bell until I met Homer, who was also working for the Bell. And he was from here, but he was working in Montreal. And we didn't court for any length of time, really, because his family always said when he wants something, he goes right after it and gets it.
He saw his prize, his golden girl, and that was it.
So we were about the same age and both worked for the Bell. And
did he have aspirations to be the mayor of Brome Lake?
Well, maybe he did. He didn't say it as such, but his father was a counselor before him.
Okay.
And when he died, I guess, I don't know whether, usually people, when time comes for election, somebody's saying, oh, you should run. You do that and you do something else. So maybe it was like that. I didn't know him then.
Okay.
He was mayor in 72 every 4 years. He was elected mayor the first time in 72, and we were married in 73. And his wife had died I think she died in 72.
Okay.
Very short time. She had cancer.
Oh, boy.
And so she was expected to die, And he had 2 sons. And so I moved into a family of men that I hadn't had before because my 2 aunts were out.
Right. That's a transition in itself. So you became the mayoress and the lady of the house. And I heard you were grandiose in the sense that you dressed to the nines and even made your own clothes.
Yes, I do.
Do you still partake in some of that, or?
Yes. Well, I brought my sewing machine with me. It's over there.
Amazing.
But and I have a few, because I had a few items on the go at home. And so that's why I had the sewing machine here.
Did you end up having any children?
No.
Okay, so you raised the two boys as your family, and
Yeah, well, one was at the end of school in Stansted, and the other one was in Guelph.
okay. You spent many, many years in the townships then.
Well, after I
Okay.
met Homer,
Then you lived your life here in the townships.
Yeah.
Okay.
because we got married in June. But I didn't come down too much, except I used to take my aunts for a drive, at different times. And I remember taking a picture of St. Paul's Church in Knowlton.
Yeah.
When I moved out here, they had put up the Centennial Building, which is in 67, I think.
Okay.
And it was sort of from Lakeside looking at the Centennial Building.
Okay.
Behind that is St. Paul's Church. And I thought, that looks familiar, but there's nothing in front of it. Because I had come driving and thought, I like the look of the church. So I took it from Lakeside, the street, and the Centennial Building wasn't built yet then. And I didn't have any idea of anything about Knowlton, or they called it Knowlton then,
Right.
not Blackburn.
Some people still do.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, me too.
And
So you took a picture
I
of
had been
it.
there before, but I didn't know.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I didn't know I was there. I was just driving through
Right.
and liked the look of the church. And then later on, I painted 3 pictures. One when it was a little clapboard type church
Okay.
with a fence around it.
I don't know it in that time.
Yeah, I never thought that I'd be living there someday.
Within 5 minutes walk almost. Wow, that's life.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And so it was quite revealing to catch up with myself in the past and not really know it.
Mm-hmm. I was told you did quite a bit of painting.
Yes, I painted those.
Oh, cows, a winter landscape, a sugar bush. One of your nieces told me you used to get up in the morning, send your husband off to work, and then jump in the car and drive around the townships and take pictures.
That's right. Because that was at Pike River.
Out in the Bedford area?
Yeah,
Okay.
the cow and the river. And the one behind you is Daisy Souls. No, not that one. That's the Laurentians.
Okay.
Because I had a house up in the Laurentians. I built it for the Centennial Project. The government said you should have a project.
Huh.
People should, to celebrate the centennial. So
Okay.
at that time, I thought, I like it up north. I bought a house up there. I had it built for myself. A small one, but I'm sorry I let it go because I like it. But it was after I moved down here that Homer said, well, we never go up there, so we may as well get rid of it. Just added
Responsibility.
yes,
And yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I sold it.
What did you like to paint the most?
Well, whatever the subject the way it was seemed to appeal to me. Like one of Homer's mother's sisters, Aunt Daisy, and Daisy sold on
Okay.
Souls Road
Yeah.
and sold. Souls farm
Mm-hmm.
in West Brom.
Yeah.
And I used to go and visit her early in the morning, and she liked to paint, she liked to sew, she liked to knit, and all the things I like to do. So we had a lot in common, and I went there often. After Homer went to work, I took off.
Went about your life. Yeah.
And we had a good time, but that was her sugar bush. Slo's sugar bush.
Beautiful. Actually, my mom just bought one of your paintings and gifted it at Christmas to our friend, and it's hanging in their house. They just put it up. It was one of partridges, and just so lifelike and beautiful. And
Yeah.
you capture the slowness under the trees,
Yeah.
and
They're big partridge.
big partridges. Yeah, a lovely painting.
Yeah.
Life comes around. Like, I would never have thought I'd be sitting here speaking with you today. And 100 years, I look at it, so you were born in 1926.
Yeah.
How much has changed in the world, and especially for women?
Watching the news now, I often wonder if there's something going on. It's getting worse and worse. Things that you don't think could even happen. You see it on TV, and the technology of what they do, you wonder if it's all true.
A good point.
Yeah.
I think we should question.
Yeah. Because they can do things. You notice they have if they're trying to take a picture at night when it's dark, they can do something that makes a bright light just on what they want you to see.
Right?
And then you wonder how much of this goes on that they don't show you.
Right. How much we take for granted that it's true or truthful, but everything's in your perspective, as like your paintings, your point of view, with the angle you choose, where you put the light.
Very strange. But anyway, I've had a very good life. Two happy marriages. They were great, no problems, and
nice.
Sorry to have lost them.
That's Evelyne Blackwood French, née Cooney, a girl who grew up in Montreal on Queen Mary Street, attended Villa Maria School, and once she married Homer Blackwood, she moved out to Knowlton and became the mayoress, leading a prominent and very social life, and her own as an artist as well as a fashionista. Let's hear a little bit more from Evelyne and how she plans to celebrate her 100th. A few times it was mentioned your style, your personal style, and just like with when you were the mayoress and stuff, in full costume. You'd had full costume for different events or Canada Day. And what do you have for style advice for people? Or was there a fashion era, a time that you really were drawn to?
Well, I liked it when there was a time when you wouldn't go to a party without a long dress on.
Oh, okay.
And then now you go with jeans and
yep.
and not like what boggles my mind, $400 jeans.
Right. Right.
You know, they're just dollar shop jeans.
With a fancy tag on them.
Yeah.
So it's looking at where we place value now and what we esteem. And
I mean, even with the dollar shop, I don't know if they sell jeans, but what's the store? Walmart.
okay, yes, yeah.
They're not bad, the clothes in there.
You can find some great things. Yeah.
I mean, and you can make them look good. You know.
Right.
Just dress them up a bit and nobody's looking at the age of your jeans.
Right. It's how you present yourself,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
your confidence and energy.
So you get by all right, and you still have a reputation that is good. And I mean, I'm not bragging, but it just happens. I've noticed when I used to go out, just about every time I went out somewhere, people would comment on
Mm-hmm.
my appearance, which sounds like bragging, but I
No, but
don't mean it that way.
yeah,
And
you had natural style. Like I see you even today with your jumper and your jewelry, and you take pride in yourself and how you feel.
yeah, well, you have to just go out of your way to do that little extra, and it's worth it sometimes.
Yeah, I'd say probably most of the time, even if it's not seen or recognized by other people, but for yourself, putting value.
You can be chosen to do things too because of just the way you present yourself.
Absolutely. Again, going back to like having been born in 1926 and where we are today in 26, as a woman, the freedoms and the changes in society and the roles you play.
Yeah.
Looking back, how would you describe that? Like going through those times, like the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, your freedoms.
Well, sometimes I say, where did that time go?
Mm.
You know? Like the 80s, 70s, I was still mobile,
Oh yeah.
and it used to be that if you were 50, you were ancient,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
When I was a young person, my friend's mother and father, they'd have gray hair, and the mother would have her hair pulled back in a knot up here, like a real old granny.
An old spinster. And here, 50 is almost like it's like the new
yeah.
30, the new 40. You have a wonderful sense of humor and outlook. Do you have any secrets to your longevity and your spark?
No, I never. In fact, I don't know what happened between my 90th birthday and this time. I mean, I wasn't able to get around too much. And I can't remember when I was immobile completely.
Oh, okay.
You know, all of a sudden I'm here.
Just kind of boop, there goes a decade.
Yes.
But I looked in the past newspaper articles and such. I mean, you were having showings of your paintings and different, like you were living.
Yeah.
Like you're not just on standby, you're living.
Well, a lot of my friends making the list now of they want to have a party on for my 100th, and so many names that come. I say, oh, he's gone, she's dead. Yeah, I think she died.
That's not easy. It's amazing to live so long and in health, but you don't have the same people to share those memories with.
Yeah.
Of other times. How do you plan to celebrate? I was speaking with your niece, Shelley, and she said, oh yeah, she's got some dates lined up and things are happening. How will you celebrate your 100th?
Well, actually, it got to, I said, everybody would say, like 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago, say, what are you doing for your birthday?
Right.
And everybody was coming up with a party. And
as you roll your eyes.
and I said, I'm not doing anything. I don't want anything. Don't do anything.
Okay.
So now we have 60 or 70 people coming.
Just what you'd wished for. But hey, you gotta celebrate, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's a milestone. Every birthday.
Yeah.
But this one, pretty special.
So anyway, there's so many, and There are not too many not coming.
Excellent. This is on the calendar.
Yeah. And I had a nice surprise the other day. Louise Penny,
Oh, yes.
she sent me her latest book, The Black Wolf, I think it's called.
Okay.
And you can look at it.
Okay.
She wrote in it, and she wrote a card.
Whoa, happy birthday. Do you want me to read it?
Sure.
Dearest Evelyne, happy 100th. You have always been a beacon of kindness, of generosity, of community. Thank you, dear friend, for welcoming me into the community, into your home, into your life. You are a treasure and treasured by all, by me. With love, Louise. That's lovely.
I knew her because there's also a tribute in the book itself.
Okay.
The next page, one page.
Oh, yes. Happy 100th birthday, Evelyne. To the doyenne of our community, with love and thanks for all your kindness and hospitality. Louise, XXOO. Well, I have to say, you're very respected in the community and appreciated for your artistry and your style and just I think, like she's saying, being a woman of society and holding your own space.
Well, anyway, she bought a condo in the same building,
Louise Penny did.
Yeah.
Yes.
so we knew her quite well.
She was your neighbor.
See her all the time, and I guess that's all I wanted to say about her, because she was really a very nice person.
Oh, amazing. Thank you for sharing some of your life and your tales with us. And just thank you for being you. You've been a pillar in our community for so many years.
Well, I just think of things as they come, and
Yeah. And take life one day at a time.
that's right. Yeah.
That's right. I wish you an amazing celebration and beautiful days ahead.
Well, it's a pleasure meeting you,
Likewise.
and I can't think of. There's lots of other little things, but probably not of any interest to anybody.
You'd be surprised. Well, I hope there are many beautiful surprises in store for Miss Evelyne Blackwood French as she soon celebrates her 100th birthday. Congratulations, and a shout out to her family and all her friends who will be there to celebrate this beautiful woman and her legacy. Thank you for tuning in to 99.1. This is the local journalism initiative at work here in the Eastern Townships, funded through the Government of Canada. I'm Holly Bailey, signing off.
That brings us to the end of today's program. From unpacking municipal budgets with Aaron Patella to celebrating the extraordinary life of centenarian Evelyne Blackwood French. You can find more stories just like this on pulsetownships.com. I'm William Crooks. This is the Pulse of the Eastern Townships. And always remember, keep that finger on the pulse.
The Pulse. Townships interviews. Don't forget breaking news. The Pulse, the Pulse, the Pulse. Broadcast just for you. Are you heading out for a cruise? Or lying there for a snooze? The Pulse, the Pulse, the Pulse. Broadcast just for you. Hey, I know that guy. Hey, I know that gal too. The Pulse, the Pulse, the Pulse, broadcast just for you. The townships are the muse, make sure to choose. The Pulse, 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 the Pulse of the Eastern Townships, broadcast just for